Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Anita Newby and I'm going to be reviewing a movie for you today. The movie I'm looking at is based on a Tom Clancy novel and it's entitled Without Remorse. This was released very recently on Amazon Prime in April of 2021 and stars Michael B. Jordan. I was anxiously awaiting the release of this film and maybe you were too, but I hope you'll stick around and stay to hear my thoughts on Without Remorse. Without Remorse. So, as I mentioned, this film is based on a Tom Clancy novel. And if you're familiar with Tom Clancy's work, and I'm not in the form of novels, but I definitely have seen a lot of his films. Though some of those films are Clear and Present Danger, The Sum of All Fears, Patriot Games, Hunt for Red October. So if you've seen any of those movies, this is in line with his work. And one of the things about Tom Clancy is he's pretty consistent in what he presents. So it is coming from a military standpoint. In this particular film, the main character, who is John Kelly, is a Navy SEAL, okay? So as per usual with Tom Clancy's work, it has a military presence and a government presence, and you're usually trying to figure out some type of conspiracy. He does it, he executes it very well. Whoever wrote the screenplay did it very well in this instance as well, and it just kept me intrigued from the beginning of the movie, so I'm not going to keep you in suspense. Did I like the movie? Yes, very much. It was very enjoyable. To be honest, I watched it at the end of a very long and taxing work day, and I just was wondering, am I even going to be able to get through this film? Because as much as I wanted to see it and I was waiting for it, I was just exhausted. But when I started watching the film, it really grabbed me from the beginning. It had me intrigued. I was into it, and with every twist and turn and every detour that the movie took, I wasn't turned off by it. It just kept me intrigued and kept me engaged. It was great because I wasn't distracted. My mind wasn't wandering. I wasn't looking for other things to do, but I was fully engaged with this movie. So for me, that's a sign of a very entertaining and intriguing film, and I was here for all of it. You know, I love watching a movie where there's a government conspiracy or some type of conspiracy that you're trying to figure out. And I love to try to have my mind going down the rabbit hole of, well, who's involved and what really happened, you know, and this did not disappoint in any way. Now, am I for government conspiracies in real life? No. If that's your thing, hey, have at it. I know some people are very fascinated by that. If you have a government conspiracy about anything that's going on in the world, please do not send it to my DM or direct message me or anything of the sort with your videos about what's going on in the government, because Anita doesn't care. Now, if it's about a movie about a government conspiracy, feel free to let me know. Anyway, that was just my little sidebar. But I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I thought it was very well executed. And it just kept my attention the entire time. It is military based, so there is a lot of action. There's action from moment one of the film all the way to the end of the film. There's action, and it gives you a few minutes to take a breather, but the action is consistent and very well executed. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the storyline. It was solid. It didn't have, you know, holes in it. Even when you're trying to figure things out and you're going down the rabbit trail, it was presented in a very succinct way. Doesn't give things away, but it was presented in a way that just kept you intrigued. So I appreciated that. I mentioned before, Michael B. Jordan is the star of this film. He is John Kelly, who is a Navy SEAL. And there's a couple of other people that you may be familiar with in the film as well. Jodie Turner-Smith, I believe is her name. You may have seen her previously in Queen and Slim. And then also you have Jamie Bell, you have Guy Pearce. Those may not be names that ring a bell to you, but I guarantee when you see their faces, they're very familiar. They've been in a lot of popular films that we've seen. And so it was good to see them in these roles. I felt like the cast was very strong and very solid. And they did their job well. And let me say this, I don't know, again, this was adapted from a novel, so I don't know what was written in the novel and you know, how the characters were presented and their background was presented. But I will say, as a moviegoer, it is nice to see just my perspective. It's nice to see black people in lead roles and the character doesn't have to be black for some reason dealing with the plot. Like, it doesn't come up. It doesn't come up in the dialogue or in the story that they're black and this is a reason this is happening. And not just that, but in terms of gender as well. Jodie Turner-Smith, she played the commanding officer of the Navy SEALs, a black woman. That's cool to see. And it never came up, you know, gender was never an issue. She never was sexually harassed by by the people in her command. She was never in the film. And again, I don't know what's in the book, just going from what was presented in the film. She never had to battle with the fact that she was a woman in this high position. She didn't have to fight for it. And I'm sure in real life, you have to fight for those things. So I'm not disregarding that. But it was nice just to see somebody in a role simply because they're in a role. It could have been a white man in her role. It could have been a Chinese midget in her role. Oh, I probably shouldn't say that, right? I should say tiny people, small. Oh, Lord have mercy. Forgive me. Anyway, sorry, I'm not politically correct. I'm saying all that to say it could be anybody in these roles. And it's just nice to see that sometimes the African-American actors are getting these lead characters, and a female in a role of a commanding officer was very good to see as well without it being a part of the plot. Again, it could be in the plot line in the novel, but it wasn't in the film. So that was refreshing. Again, culture always comes up. So when you see somebody of a particular culture, that's, you know, you always think about that, and we don't disregard that in any way. But it was just nice to see. My perspective. So let's talk a little bit about Michael B. Jordan. I really am not always, let me be honest, I don't always love seeing him in movies. Just being honest about it. Wait, let me rewind. I always love seeing him in movies because he looks the way he does. And let's be for real. The man is fine, okay? So he can show up in any movie that I'm watching anywhere, and I will be pleased at the very presence of his face because he's fine. But I'm not always overly impressed with his acting. I'm not always convinced of his characters, to be honest. Just Mercy, I thought it was okay. I mean, he did a solid job, but I wasn't convinced. I didn't think he was, you know, fantastic in it. Black Panther, honey, his character could have went away. I remember when they got to the end of Black Panther, and I think his character was Killmonger, and he was getting ready to die, and Black Panther was like, you know, we can take you in the lab and we can fix you. And I'm thinking, no, don't fix him. Let him die. We don't need to see this character in another Marvel film. I don't ever need to see this dude again. Please don't let him show up in the multiverse. I was so happy when he died. And not because he was the villain. I just didn't find him convincing in that particular role. And I was thinking as I was watching it of other people that I probably would have preferred to see in it. Again, that's just me. Do I love seeing him on screen? Why, yes, I do. But I love him in Creed. With that being said, I think he is phenomenal in Creed. I think he's perfectly cast. I think he plays it with such an ease and a strength. It's just very natural. So I didn't know what to think when he was starring in this film. The reason why I was so anticipating this film is because they put out a fabulous trailer. I thought the trailer was very well done, and I was just interested. But I didn't know how I would feel about him being in this role. I thought, I have, you know, he's hit or miss with me. I'm never bothered, but I'm not always totally convinced either. So I didn't know what I was going to think of him as John Kelly in this film. But you know what? I thoroughly enjoyed him. I thought he did a fantastic job. I thought he was very convincing. I thought he was just natural in this role. There were different dimensions that he had to show. He had to show, you know, that military side. He had to show a family side. He had to show, you know, he had to show different things. And I thought he did it very well. And, you know, and he looks good doing it. There's some particular scenes where you get to see just how fit he is. And it was nice. I appreciated that. And made me happy that I could stream it and I could pause it and rewind it if I chose to because of the beauty that is Michael B. Jordan. Oh, it blessed my soul. Okay, but anyway, I'm just saying, I was so pleased with him in his role. I thought, yeah, this is the type of thing that you do and you do well. And it could just be his growth as an actor. It could be that this is the type of film that's suited to him. This action, this adventure, this dramatic. I don't know, but I thought he did a very, very good job. I was very pleased with him. With me having questions coming in, I'm just going to be honest, but I do enjoy Michael B. Jordan, and I really, really enjoyed him in this film. I can't say that I enjoyed him in this film more than I did Creed, because I just think he's phenomenal in Creed and Creed 2. But he was so convincing. So I said all that to say, I hope you will watch this film. I highly recommend it. If you don't know where to find it, it is streaming on Amazon Prime. And if you have access to Amazon Prime, it is definitely worth your time. You will not be bored. You know, if you're not into the military government type things and you don't like all that action, it might not be for you. But I think for the majority of us, we will find it very entertaining. And I really give it 2 thumbs up. It's probably something that I'm going to revisit, you know, when I just kind of want to rewatch a movie, because now getting to the end of a movie, especially a movie that has some type of conspiracy involved, sometimes you want to go back and see what were the hints along the way. And this was just executed beautifully. I thought the direction was good. I really, really enjoyed it. And I hope that you will take the time to watch it as well. Speaking of taking the time to watch something, thank you for hanging in and staying with my review. And if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please do so at this time and click on the notifications so you can see when I upload a new video. I would love for you to like, comment, and share if you think that other people would enjoy this. As always, I try to be spoiler free as not to ruin the film for anybody. But if people are on the fence and they want to know if they should watch something, I hope that my reviews will shed a little light and kind of point them in the right direction. But again, thank you so much for tuning into my YouTube channel. I'm Anita Newby, and so pleased that you joined me today. And I hope you enjoyed my review of Without Remorse.